Alright, I'm not too much into intros, so just hop right back into it. First things first, I always look at my team comp. Having Venom and Ping on my team as my tanks basically means that I won't be able to frontline as Magik here. So I'll be looking to dive. Obviously, I don't know what their team comp is yet, so I'm playing on the side ground here just to see what they're running, and then that is basically how I try to judge my playstyle in the beginning of the game. Now, if I have a Strange and maybe Strange Mag, anything that's playing around these corners here to protect my backline, then I can play around them. I can run back into safety if I need to. So I can take more of a brawling playstyle. But with this team comp, I'm pretty much just looking to mostly dive and look for combos and then just resets. So with that in mind, we'll get started here. I'm just waiting to see what they're running. I will try to go for a pick here once they walk forward. But first I want to make sure I know what I'm getting into. So I see the cloak. I'll go for the cloak here. Unfortunately, we miss. So once I miss my combo like this, my immediate thought is I basically have to live. I don't have enough cooldowns to kill anybody. So my biggest priority in that situation is to live. Obviously, unfortunate here that my teammates were just I'm basically like 4 down. I tried to re-engage for a kill, but this kill basically just means nothing. I'm most likely dead here regardless whether I go for this kill or not, so it's pretty irrelevant. So we'll just try to back out here and get out and reset. We can't get out to get chased down. So it's basically first point. Unfortunately, it's just one of those situations where it doesn't matter what happens to your team. The only thing I could have done there is go for the pick, try to kill the cloak. If we lose the team fight, we lose the team fight. That's just out of my control. So after first point here, basically looking for a reset. I'm still not frontlining. I'm looking for picks and people playing out of position. So ideally, I do want to shut down the Hawkeye, but knowing their supports are pushing payload right now, it's what I'm mainly going for. So we missed here another dash. It's unfortunate. Venom does dive in, which is good. But we can't really help him past this point. I'm trying to capitalize on his damage here and get Loki. So, in this situation, let's see what happened here. Player POV. So, in that situation, there's not much we can do. Obviously, Venom is dead. We do get the pick on Loki. So, the only thing I can do here is look for another reset. The enemy team is pushing forward. Bucky is ulting. I want to make sure this Bucky doesn't ult me because I want to be in the backline. Even though like this fight is not looking favorable, I don't want to reset with my team here, especially knowing that the Loki just died. I want to make sure that I back up here, play safe, I don't get Bucky ulted, and just stall. So my immediate thought was that their front line and the rest of their team, they're moving forward, and Loki is dead. So my primary objective here is to just look for a stagger. So I immediately look here. I make sure that nobody's pushing me. And then I'm just waiting for the Loki to get a free pick when he comes out of spawn. These are small things that make a big difference, because even though... So Spider-Man got a pick, and Spider-Man's dead, that still allows my team to reset and regroup while they're just pushing the payload slowly. And I could potentially look for another stagger here. So I'm just gonna continue to stay here and look for another stagger. Okay, so they're down 2. Obviously, I misplayed this because I could have easily killed the Hawkeye if I just right-click, charge him, and then I portal behind and just drop a demon. So obviously a mistake on my part, but I'm still stalling this person, and I know that Loki is respawning again. So these are 2 people that have been... The Loki's been in spawn for like the past, let's just say like 15-20 seconds, maybe even more at this point. Just go back and just double check super quick. besides the point. This Loki has been out of the fight for 30 seconds, and then the Hawkeye is also being stalled here. So I misplay, I don't get the kill. I know that now, if I try to take this 1v2, it's probably greedy, because Loki will just put Totem, there he's gonna drop his little clones, they'll try to kill me, Hawkeye might get a headshot. So I just look for, I should be looking for a escape here. Granted, in the moment, I did not see that Strange being that low. I could have easily killed him and gotten out of stagger. But, once again, like, my primary objective here is to get out. This is just something super in the moment, like, I did not see this. The only thing I was thinking about is what's behind me. And knowing that they're coming out and then seeing them pushing forward. I'm looking to get out. Hindsight, I should have definitely killed that Strange and then got out. But that's just like a hindsight situation. Positioning this door. Basically, in this situation, I'm just looking for a ult charge. I'm just dropping demons, I'm waiting to walk forward, and then I'm looking for anybody struggling behind. It's another unfortunate miss here, but we're still just looking for picks. So, here I want to point out that their cloak ult is gone. Did they cloak ult? They already cloak ulted. So cloak ult is gone. And I'm just, at this point, I'm waiting for my cooldowns. As soon as I reset, I want to come out of their vision and look for any pick here. Like, my teammates are pushing into them. So me coming from behind here is basically just free damage and free picks. Okay, so they're lucky used ult. I'm not sure why Weelun ulted, but that's irrelevant at this point, I guess. We're just trying to clean up here, make sure we get everybody else. I'm basically just looking to help my team here and trying to get another reset. So we are down 1. I want to make sure that I don't die. I always want to make sure I play my life in these situations. Because, especially when you're solo queuing, you are the only variable you can control. Obviously, we do end up dying here, but we could have potentially gotten out here and just went for a full reset. I think we just had some people down and we didn't expect for them to buck ult here and take down much space and come back that fast. So we are running Strange now, which is good, but I believe for the rest of this game, I'm pretty much just looking for side angles. So, in this situation, I see my thing, he's positioning very weirdly, so I know he's planning something. My Strange and Wolverine are walking forward. My supports have good position. So, knowing that they don't have Loki ult and they don't have Cloak ult in this team fight, I'm basically just full on engaging. I want to make sure we win this team fight and force them to reset. So I go in straight with ult. I look for the backline. I engage, I get 2, and then the team just cleans up the rest in the back here. After the fight, I do want to try to get as many staggers as possible. Stagger on the Hawkeye. We definitely want to look for the Bucky. I did lose track of him here. I thought he went for the health pack, but unfortunately he just went around. So here, I was looking with Wolverine. I believe me and Wolverine could have easily killed him, but seeing my Wolverine back out, I wanted to make sure that, you know, I get out as well and I don't stagger myself. This timing here, right before we get into this position, if I died in the back here, I don't want to say it guarantees the enemy team a winning team fight, but it definitely gives them a huge advantage, an opportunity to win a 5v6 and then cap first point. So, playing your life and knowing when to play your life is super important. Back in the same position, we're looking for another pick. I think the main reason I don't go for Brawl here, to brawl with my tanks and play more frontline, is characters like Hawkeye, even with Strange Shield, anytime Strange drops his shield, the chances of this little guy right here one-shotting you coming out of your portals or anything like that is extremely high. So I do want to make sure that I'm coming from angles where he can't see me, because Magik does have pretty predictable movement. During your E uppercuts, you're technically stationary mid-air for, let's say, like a second, and then coming out of your portal, it's very easy to predict where you're gonna come out, and, you know, you're falling down slightly to the ground depending on your how high into the air you are. So these are just things that are easily predictable. And if this Hawkeye is good, he can definitely look for a pick on me. So I do want to make sure I'm always coming from these side angles and looking for picks. So we get a pick here, I back out. Now, I will point out here, they are down 2. Let's just watch this real quickly in. So this is looking super juicy, right? Like, we get a pick, and then we get another pick. Somebody killed the cloak. Now, it's a 4v6, right? Some people would say, okay, well, why don't you continue going forward here? Well, I could, and we could kill them, but only having my thing here, and not having my Strange. Now, obviously, I know that my team is directly behind me, but these are one of those situations where you have to understand that this is a super risky play, and they do have a Bucky and a Tor. What is the other guy? Bucky, Tor, Strange. Okay, so I could easily push forward here and look for more picks, and I can even potentially dive this guy here. But there is chances of Tor pushing me back this way, or Bucky backing up and then hooking me in, and I could die very, very fast. I could easily get 2-tapped by Bucky, I could get headshot by Bucky, Strange could E me at the same time, Tor could push me back, Strange can E me, like, any amount of things can happen here, and then I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm kind of evening the team fight. Obviously, they are slightly low already, so Strange and Tor are missing quite a bit of health, but that could easily be made up. If Strange holds shield, Invis gives them shield, and she tops them off, and then we lose me, that puts us in a situation where they could potentially turn around and do something. So I prioritize backing out here and just going for the reset versus continuing to push forward, and I want to make sure that I'm giving us as much time as possible. Like, I'm trying to take as many calculated risks as possible. Now, obviously, I do re-engage here, because the threat of me instantly dying by diving into 4 people is gone. That's the primary thing. So by not going in here, I see this is bad. I'm assuming in my head that this is like super risky play and I could easily die for it. I back out, my teammates push forward, and now I'm just looking for another angle for any potential picks. Now here, they're super scrambled, and I know this because they're obviously low, they're trying to live and reset. So now this is my opportunity to use the chaos of all these players being super split. And then in the moment, I just see Thor dies, I look up, and there is Invis Woman, and in my mind, okay, that's an easy stagger, and then we can get her and get out. So, any small opportunity, while also playing your life, super important. Now, even in this situation, right, this was only the Strange, okay? I do want to elaborate on this because people need to understand a character like Magik. Like, you do have mobility and escapes, but it's super easy to pick you off, right? So, look at my health here. I'm at full HP. I go into the invis. I'm full HP. Strange hits me with left click. Strange hits me with left click twice and ease me. And I am almost dead here. If this Hawkeye shoots, I basically die. Now imagine what could happen with 4 people, and this was just one person who's actually a tank, right? So you just need to take these risks into consideration when you're going in and playing your life like more properly. So obviously I take a lot of damage here. I'm immediately backing out. Make sure that my healers can cover me. I don't know what's going on the bottom there. Don't care. I'm already thinking ahead. Instead of me like positioning to help them or do stuff with them, or oh, maybe there's somebody else on the bottom, I'm immediately thinking about my next play. So here I'm looking for them to walk forward, and I believe I come directly from behind them. So let's see what happens. I'm playing full dive mode here. I'm not looking to brawl or do anything like that. So I do waste my right click, but Bucky is looking around for me, so I want to make sure that, you know, he's obviously wasting his time, but I also want to make sure that they don't full turn around and like the whole team kills me. Now, I will say this playstyle is a bit more risky, because essentially, during this whole duration, my team was 5v6. Granted, 5v5 because the Bucky is spending his time looking for me instead of helping his team. So it's kind of even, but as a solo queue player, you have to realize that this entire team fight, I've kind of let it play out in my teammates' hands, and I have zero control over that. So whether we lose that or win it, it's kind of like on chance. So we have some good ultis here. I'm just in the middle of everything, trying to get any picks, trying to get any ult charge. Definitely a waste of Bucky ult, I believe. They were down too many already. Now just typical looking for staggers. As soon as I get the stagger, I'm immediately repositioning, thinking about where am I gonna play from now. So this is the thing about solo queue. It's like when you make plays like this, and you're playing especially dive, you can't expect your teammates to win those team fights. One, because most of the time you're putting them in a 5-6, and two, because you need to calculate your own plays, and you're the only variable you can control. So if you lose the team fight, that's kind of on you, kind of them, right? Like, you can't blame them, but you also like have to put a little blame on yourself, and you just, as a solo queue player, you need to stop focusing on your teammates and start focusing on yourself. Like, what are you doing? What is your value? What is your plan? Now, whether you can execute that plan and bring that value, obviously, that's not always going to be the case. I mean, regardless of how good you are, things are not always going to go your way. So I know it might sound a little selfish, but you just have to ignore your team and just don't care what they do. Obviously, play with them, play to win, but you do want to make sure that you're mainly focused on yourself and what you're doing in order to win this game. So, nothing out of the ordinary here. I mean, I'm just literally watching them walk forward through this door. Thing and Wolverine are about to do Thing and Wolverine things. I poke forward, I hear the cloak, I see the cloak. We're just going straight for the cloak. We get a pick, and now we get out. Okay, I guess we don't get we pop ult. This is also fine. I mean, ult probably not necessary, but it does guarantee us the fight. Make sure that nothing bad happens, and it's just a clean wipe. I mean, in this situation... this fight is basically kind of won. Like, Wolverine's in, Strange is low, so I'm not really sure what's happening on this end. He just basically he's getting looked at by the whole team. But immediately into the fight, I go into their cloak, and they're just down a healer here. So, I mean, this is definitely a good position for me to ult. For some reason, I thought I would reset, but this is like a perfect angle for ult. I already have overshield, with their one support down, and we're just going in for a cleanup, I guess. They do waste Strange ult, which is obviously unfortunate for them. But immediately after this ult, I believe I'm going straight to this angle. And see how I'm constantly switching these angles here? I play here, I play around this corner here next to the stairs where they can't see me, I play in the doorway. I want to make sure that I'm not sitting in the same angle every single time, because as you saw earlier, they do start looking for you. So you want to be as unpredictable as possible, especially when you're playing dive, because if they know where you're going to come from, it's a lot easier to shut you down. But if you switch your angles and you look for different timings and different opportunities, then that just allows more options for you to do things. Okay, so here's, I believe, where I went directly behind them. And I do want to talk about this a little bit. So, unfortunately here we'll miss our combo, right? Let's go back just a little bit. So we go in, we look for a pick on Star-Lord, we miss. Our teammates are quite far back. So I have two options, right? Well, we have more than two options, but the two different options is I try to run through this entire enemy team to get to my team over here to run to safety. Or I try to play behind them still, so I can go under towards the health pack, or maybe even here. I could potentially try to cross this gap, which will most likely get me killed, so it's not ideal. Or I can just go back into their spawn. I see a lot of people making this mistake. If you're out of position like this, I know that in your head it sounds good to regroup with your team because they can help you, but I am down my dash here, and at best I have two portals that go 5 yards each stops. So at best I'm making it to maybe like around where this Hulk is right now. So I immediately prioritize, and I've already pre-planned this most of the time. When I'm out of position like this, it's better for me to just reset somewhere behind them and then come straight back in and look for another opportunity if my team is making something happen. So yeah, this is a big mistake I see people make, and sometimes I make it myself, right? Like, I'll find myself in a situation like this, and my brain is like, oh, go to your team, they'll help you. Strange will shield for you, your healers will top you off, and then you guys can reset. But realistically, that's just won't be the case a lot of the times. So here I immediately reset, I play behind them. I'm not even playing that far back. I'm basically just looking for any opportunity to go in here and look for another pick. So I know some of my teammates are down, they're resetting, and I want to make sure that I pick these timings very carefully. Like, you'll see a lot of these times I'm going in. It might seem like I'm waiting too long, but sometimes you have to wait for a good opportunity. So we're missing out a combo, unfortunate, and then we're right back out. They do spend a lot of time looking for me. And here, we're super down. Okay, my thought process in a situation like this, it's overtime. It's overtime. They're super close to capping first point, right? Like, obviously, we could most likely reset and run back with strange TP or whatever the case may be. But I do want to make sure that I try to get a pick here. Okay, their spawn is a lot further than ours. So in this situation, most of my team is dead. If I go in right now and I get a pick, and I make it a 5v6 on our reset, even if it's for a couple of seconds, that could be super detrimental to us winning this next team fight and holding at point 1, rather than them being full 6. I try to maybe play somewhere under here, or maybe play up top, and then wait for my team to go in, and then I go in from behind them. Because the main difference here is, if I wait for my team to reset, and then I go in once they're back, their entire team will already be looking forward at my team, compared to if I go in now, they'll, instead of them taking space and going forward on my team, they're forced to turn around and look at me. So they are still pushing the payload, but their focus has shifted from looking forward for picks to looking back for a pick. So critically, I do have to get this trade here. And obviously, if I don't get this trade, then I just stagger myself. So this is a super risky play that you just kind of have to calculate that, okay, is it worth it? Is it going to work out? So we do get a pick. Unfortunately, I poured onto the wall, so I end up dying. But you see this? Their entire team, even if it was just briefly. Oh, let's see. Even if it's just briefly, their entire team turns around and starts looking at me, right? Look where they are. They're all in the payload. They could be up here, but they could have like 3 people here, and they can have the rest of their team here shooting down on anybody that's respawning. So Wolverine's up, Luna's up, Sue's up. Obviously, these characters wouldn't really be pushing too much forward until the tanks get back. But there is a chance. I mean, they have a Hawkeye, for example. Hawkeye, if anybody even peeks, like, the Hawkeye can just easily get a pick. And then we're putting ourselves in a situation where we're down 2 people, and now it's super hard to win. So I believe now we teleport and we recontest here. But this is just a high-risk, high-reward play that obviously in this situation pays off. In other situations, it won't pay off. So it's just another somewhat calculated risk you have to take as a, if you're playing dive especially. So here you'll notice that, like, I don't go immediately to the portal, right? I do spend a couple of seconds here. I know that we have to touch, but this is my tank's job, okay? Luna, that's a little risky to jump out of portal on 20 HP, right? But obviously she'll ult here. But just to make the point here is, I stay back and I make sure that my tank's going first, just to make sure that I don't go and I insta-die. Because if I go on an insta-die, then we're already creating a disadvantage for ourselves. So I do take I angle here to make sure I can see everything that's happening. And I could potentially see one of the squishies and see where they're playing and go for a pick on them, rather than like just blindly jumping into the portal, then insta-dying to a Hawkeye or whatever the case may be. So at this point, we have some good ults here. We try to get the picks. I do want to make sure, even though it's overtime, I want to make sure I have my ulti here, because that will be super important to... I try to peel here, and then I get dove by the Hulk. And I'm immediately just like stalling here. I'm just wasting as much time as possible, knowing that the enemy team is just looking for picks. They're chasing people around. They want to make sure to kill everybody. So I'm not really diving here. I'm just looking to be a menace. I want to make sure I waste as many people's time as possible, and ideally get like any amount of kills. So we're just brawling right before this point. I knew I was close to ult. So here I'm literally just waiting for this. I'm waiting to pop my ult, go and try to clean up everything. And obviously I don't have too much information. Like I don't know who's alive, who's dead, where they are. I'm purely thinking about myself here. In this moment, right before coming up top, I knew I was close to ulti, so in my mind I'm like, I have to get off this point in order to get my ult and potentially win this team fight. So if I get off the point and there's nobody else on the point, we C9. So it's kind of a selfish way to think, but I'm just banking on the fact that hopefully there's at least one more person to get this ult off. Because if I stay on point here and I ult, I could just die in my animation of my ult, and then I wasted my ult, they kept the point anyway. It just doesn't make sense, right? I'm sure that in the moment I probably knew there was somebody on point, but it's just something to think about. Being a little bit selfish, right? I didn't exactly know if there was anybody on the point. But anyway. We pop ult here, we're looking for the high ground. One support dead, want to make sure that... I'm not sure why I didn't commit to the Hawkeye here, I'm gonna be honest, but we're just looking to kill everybody. Been missing a lot of E's, which is unfortunate. Kill the Strange, we kill the Invis, then just the Hulk left. Now, I do want to talk real quick about target priority, right? Obviously, I prioritize the supports here, mainly. I could have probably killed the Hawkeye because his positioning wasn't that good. But having the Cloak dead, and then if I kill the Invis... Obviously, I don't know she's at 45%, and I know she somewhat recently used her ult. But if she also dies, then even if I die here, my team should easily be able to clean up. Now, I do want to talk about the Strange target prio, though. Right here. I'm coming out of animation. He's 1. I need this guy dead because Strange E just does way too much damage. So we come out, I just insta-combo him, and I want to make sure he dies. Because I could easily die in this situation. And then we have a Hulk, who's typically pretty annoying, but he's already pretty low, so... we just get the pick here, and that's it. That's it pretty much for the round. Let's pause for 1 second. Alright, so we're still with Magik here. I'm not really planning on swapping. I don't think I swap at all this game. I want to get back to my Magik grind. And I have to find creative ways to deal with adversity in these situations. Especially in a situation like this where they're playing Penny. So, Penny is hard to deal with. Now, we go in the back here. I know I have Penny, so I can't really frontline. They still have a Hawkeye, so I can't really frontline either. Just really easy to get picked off. So I go in, and I'm waiting here for a couple seconds at least. Now, keep in mind, this guy's dead. This is basically 4v6 in this situation. But I have to be patient. Like, you need to understand that timing and opportunities are super important. And if you just mindlessly go in again and again and again, then you just end up feeding again and again and again. Like, you have to be very thorough with how you approach the situations. Now, you're not always going to get the perfect timing or perfect opportunity. Sometimes you have to create those for yourself. But it's something to keep in mind. Okay, so we get a pick here, which is honestly great. But we're down 3 people. So, at this point, I either have to make the conscious decision to fully reset and wait for my team, or I can try to continue applying pressure, because I know Sue will be back soon. So I'm playing kind of forward. Bucky got a decent hook here. And obviously we take too much damage, so we reset. But we're still looking for these opportunities. Like, I know we're down people here, but I know they're also down a support. And if I can pick off the other support, then we could reset before they get one of their supports back. So here we're just waiting for a reset. Find our timing to go in. Okay, so Bucky gets a hook, he gets a good pick. I go in, I almost die. Still looking for opportunities, right? Like, I can't do much into the penny mines, so I have to look into the back line. Unfortunately, we miss our miss our pick there, but I'm still in the back line, so there's still a chance for me to go in and kill one of these sports. Okay, so Flo gets out. Close to killing the Hawkeye. I think they actually hold us until overtime here. This point is really hard on offense to break through, especially if they're running something like this, and I'm playing Magik into Penny, Strange, Hawkeye, stuff like that. Now, one quick side note. As a Magik player, don't ever underestimate Strange. The amount of unexpected damage he can put out is kind of absurd, and if you're brawling as Magik, you have to, in your mind, you have to keep track of when he uses his E's, because any poke damage, like let's say if they're running a Bucky or a Star-Lord or anything that's shooting you, combined with the Strange E, could instantly kill you. So that's just something specifically for Magik that's brawling a Strange. Keep that in mind. Don't ever underestimate that guy, because the amount of times I've died from a Strange E and just some other random damage hitting me at the same time, it just happens. You have to be super careful. That's why usually when I do brawl a Strange player, I'll do it very briefly, but here they use Cloak ult, they use Penny ult. I see my Luna, so I want to make sure that I go in here to get my ult, because... Did they use Sue? Okay, they didn't use Sue yet, but I want to make sure I have my ult, because they used one support ult, here's the second support ult. I should technically have a free ult here and potentially win the team fight. Now, I do want to clean this up, but I also understand that this team fight's potentially already lost, because that was a really big Strange ult. But I still try to make up for it here. So we're missing a lot of E's, which it happens, then we just get clapped, yeah. So, that could have went either way. Well, probably not. Realistically, I'm not killing that entire team. But, because my teammates died way sooner, these kills could have actually given us an opportunity to run back before they reset. So, all in all, the ulti, not the worst idea, but I think it's also more of a timing thing. I went in to ult as soon as the Strange... Okay, so he already ulted, so I probably could have just held this ult, but I was still looking to create an opportunity here, not even necessarily for this fight, but maybe for the next reset, because my teammates will die before I get any of these kills. So while I'm being a Dark Child on the point, potentially getting picks, my teammates are respawning, running back, and then even if I do die, then let's say I kill 2 or 3 people, then there's only 2 or 3 people on the point. And then we'll have at least 4 or 5 running back to the point. So that's still creating an advantage, not necessarily for now, but for like the near future. So just small things like that to think about. Obviously, we don't create shit. We get clapped, we all die. We're just looking for a full reset here. But this is what I mean, the difference between looking for opportunities and sometimes creating opportunities for yourself. Obviously, sometimes creating opportunities could be super high risk, high reward. And you just need to understand that. Here we're getting ran down by Strange. Fucker does a lot of damage. Yeah, we're just doing normal Magic stuff here, just cleaning up. I'll drop a demon because I want to make sure these mines die. And then I hear the support in the back, so my target prio here is just always gonna be the squishies, unless I'm getting ran out by a Strange. At that point, I have to fight him for overshield. There's not much I can do. Always looking for demons and portals. Like, this guy got hit up by somebody else pretty good already, but he definitely took a lot of demon damage too. So I do want to make sure this guy dies. And they're one support down. Go back on the point, and we're looking to like fully clean him. It's almost overtime, so we want to make sure we cap this. Like, this was our fight. Like, if we lose this fight, we basically lose the game. So we cap, move forward, get right back into position. Now, realistically, I could have swapped to let's say Bucky, and just abuse his penny. I think Bucky's probably banned this game. He's been getting banned a lot. But I'm choosing to stay on Magik. I wanna stay on Magik here, and it's been working for the most part, right? Like, we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. So if it's working, then you don't necessarily have to switch. But realistically, I could still switch and have better impact too. So we get a good pick here. I think I'd die here, but you know, honestly, like, I don't think this pick means that much. We had teammates down. So now I think this pick will have way more value than the other one, because my teammates are already reset. So if I kill the cloak here, now they have no supports. Obviously, the suit will be back fairly soon. So, like, there's small value, but this is the actual value pick. I don't think I actually kill her here, but if I do kill her, then this, like, puts us in a really good position to win the whole team fight. Okay, so we missed the E. Honestly, we should have killed her there. Been missing a lot of E's, but it is what it is. So, like, the suit pick, yeah, it was cool. I got a pick, but realistically, that's one of those picks where that's all it is. It's just a pick. It means nothing. There's no value. My teammates are not pushing forward. They're pushing the point. They have enough time to reset without us capitalizing on it. So that's just, it's just a kill. It's pretty meaningless. I do want people to keep that in mind, that not every kill means something. So creating these values is understanding, like, when these kills do mean something and when they're just kills. Yeah, so I mean, the team already won the team fight. I basically don't have to really do anything here. The only thing I'm thinking is just always think ahead, right? Obviously, I played that corner, Star-Lord ulting. I don't want to stagger myself. Good to my teammates for killing him. They did. That was a crazy Luna Freeze. Like, they did their job super fucking well. Shout out to them. But what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking ahead. I know they have at least one more fight. Even though there's a minute left, they could easily reset in time. Strange portal, touch the point. So, we're just looking for positioning ahead here to get a pick, give ourselves an advantage. We pop ulti. Did we kill anything? Spider-Man killed Hawkeye. I did do a lot of damage, so it was very good timing for him to go in. And I believe here we just clean up and win. Yeah. But yeah, so one last point to make here. If I'm not in this position and I'm playing on the point, looking to brawl, whatever, if I'm not thinking ahead, then they could put... I don't have this opportunity here. Like, have a good angle, nobody can shoot me, I cast my animation, I go in. I didn't get any flashy kills, I didn't do some mechanical god demon thing. What I did do is enough damage for my Spider-Man to go in, get a pick, then I keep pushing forward, I kill one of their supports, the rest of my team comes in, we clean up. Easy peasy. Like, I do want people to think about the fact that you don't have to be mechanical god, you don't have to be the best aimer in the world, you don't have to be the smartest person on the planet. You just need a combination of things. You need good game sense, good mechanics, good aim, obviously relative to your experience, but I will say above everything else, having really good game sense and understanding of the game will always carry you further than your actual mechanical skill or your aiming skill or everything else. Like, always think about the game strategically, think about value, think about timings, think about the things you can create, and most importantly, don't think about your team. You cannot control what other people do. Think about what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and how you're going to execute it, and just try your best. Obviously, try to have fun, but I do see a lot of people who are too hung up on mechanics and aim and scoreboard and all this other stuff. It's all irrelevant. If you want to climb, you need to get better, and in order to get better, you have to focus more on yourself rather than what other people are doing. So yeah, we'll just finish out this team fight, and I would say that's pretty much it for the VOD. But genuinely, I would say like one of the biggest things I do want to talk about is just mental. Keep your mental good. Focus on yourself. Whether your teammates are playing well, they're playing bad, it doesn't matter. Win or lose, you can take something out of the game to improve yourself and create these advantages for yourself, so that way you can continue winning games and you can climb to achieve your goals. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I know it turned out to be a little bit longer video, but I don't want to say the game was super close, but it also wasn't a complete stomp, because if it was a complete stomp, then it wouldn't have lasted like, what, 18 minutes, right? So there was a lot of back and forth going here, so I think it was a good game to kind of elaborate and explain on. But yeah, best of luck in your games.